You have a bidirectional, which obviously can determine if
the power's coming this way
or that way. Okay, if it's not
it'll just every single kilowatt you create, it will count it as kilowatt you consumed.
Okay, so that would be one directional.
Yes.
Okay.
Unidirectional.
Okay.
So, but the way the system works, it won't roll it backwards. Now, the old analog meters, if you put power through it, it would roll the numbers backwards.
Yeah, so it would do both ways
It would do both ways automatically.
And they lasted 30 years, or
it lasted 50 years.
50 years. Now these last 8.
These last 5.
so we're,
by the time you've got this working, the new generation of smart meters will come out, and they'll say we need to replace all smart meters with the new generation because we need that new functionality, blah blah blah, to save the whales and save the polar bears and save planets and all kinds of other stuff. I'm sorry, this is all bunk.
Yeah, so we
You want to hear my spiel about climate change?
Yeah, tell me.
All right, you got a recording?
Yeah, it's recording.
All right,
we'll keep recording it.
All right, so if you look at what's going on in the publications, the commercials, everything, you see the utilities saying we're basically reducing our carbon footprint. You've heard that before?
Yeah, I've heard it like every day.
Okay, so the proposal is that carbon is bad. Okay, carbon dioxide is bad. What you breathe out of your body is bad. It's a pollutant, according to some people that were part of the Obama EPA administration. Okay, they called it a pollutant. So it's a pollutant. Now they have to regulate it. All right, so now I'm saying, okay, so I guess because the carbon dioxide level is increasing, CO2 is increasing, blah, 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 now the planet is warming because of carbon dioxide. And it's doing something in the atmosphere and all this kind of stuff. Well, how much carbon dioxide do you believe is in the atmosphere today?
0.0005%.
It's actually 0.0039%.
Oh, take a guess.
So almost 0.004%. So not even 4%. It's 0.004%.
Yeah, it's only 1%.
0.04%.
Yeah.
Okay. So
well, that's changing the entire. That's changing.
Oh yeah, if you increase that by 0.00001, the global company, the global's going to die. I mean, we're all going to die in 10 years. Blah blah blah. So when you go on the street and ask people how much carbon dioxide is there in the atmosphere, a lot of them think it's like really high. Like, you know, it's getting high and it's getting higher. We're going to all die. They have no idea what the heck they're talking about. They have been buffaloed. They have been lied to. So now the utilities companies are using this as a means by which to put in green energy power. Solar farms, wind farms. Okay, now, all that costs an enormous amount of money. And as California has found out, not very reliable power. Okay? Because they're having brownouts and selective outages because there's not enough power generated by the solar systems and the wind systems. They don't want to put a generator in that consumes CO2. They want to go green, blah blah blah. So they're saying we're going to save the planet because we're going to reduce carbon dioxide. Our carbon footprint will be less, blah blah blah. Listen, I don't like polluting. Okay, don't get me wrong. I don't like polluting. Okay, but creating CO2 is not a pollutant. Okay, we're breathing it. All the animals breathe it. You want to save the CO2, you need to kill everybody on the planet.
I think that's the whole idea.
Okay? To kill everyone. 3 billion people have to die.
So what's the difference between like the CO2 that we produce and the CO2 carbon that the cell phone towers produce?
No, cell towers don't produce it. They consume power.
They consume it.
Yeah, but see your car. You drive your car, the gas engine creates CO2 at the back exhaust. Okay, they're all saying that's really bad. Well, all of this, all the cars in the world running every single day, 24 hours a day, will not increase the CO2 level from 0.0039 to 0.004. It won't even get close. So we're talking about minuscule fractions that are inconsequential to the climate. But we're spending trillions of dollars on new green energy systems And here's how this works. So they say, we want to put in solar farms, we want to save the planet, blah, blah, blah. And so the utility commission says, well, this is a great idea. We're going to save the planet, reduce our carbon footprint. Great idea. I think that's what we should do. Okay, fine. Here's $1 trillion to go put in solar farms all across the state, run by the utility companies. So they go, well, wait, we've got to pay for this. That's right. Increase the rates so you can pay for all the solar farms. Okay? So they get the money to put in all the solar farms year one. They ask for $1 trillion to increase the rates to recoup the cost of implementing new solar farms. So they get the money. Your bill goes up. Year one, they get all the money. They get all the money year one. The rates go up to pay for it in year one. Year two comes along. Do your rates go down? No, they don't go down. They keep cashing in on that $1 trillion year after year after year after year. They make enormous money, enormous amount of money putting in these solar farms.
Would there be a politician be able to cash in on a stock on that, or is this who cashes in on that?
Well, the utility company cashes in.
Okay.
Okay. The environmental groups like Sierra Club, Greenpeace, they're all getting paid by utility companies. They have like a donation, like they're trying to, they give them money for, education, blah, blah. They give them billions of dollars for that. And of course, Sierra Club and Greenpeace, all these people said, yeah, we think solar farms are the way to go. I mean, we need more solar farms because we want to reduce the carbon footprint, blah, blah, blah. I don't think you realize our planet is carbon starved right now. Okay, crop production will continue to decline. Okay, over time, and basically the climate won't be changed one bit. It won't improve because they did this. Because the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere right now is inconsequential to the environment. It doesn't matter.
Now, when it comes to the difference, there's a difference between carbon that comes out of the car. You can call it a carbon. Is that because of the pollutants of the heavy metals are inside there?
No, it's all CO2.
It's all CO2. So even though we have that, we call it pollutant that comes out of the car. Now, obviously, we do have that.
The same thing you breathe out of your body.
The same thing, okay.
Identical.
So that is not affecting the heating of the environment.
No, what is affecting the heating is moisture.
Yeah, because the majority all water droplets, right?
Vapor.
Vapor, yeah.
Water vapor.
Water vapor, okay.
So that supposedly is making more clouds, making more hurricanes, more blah, 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 blah. Okay, now, if you look at the historical records, okay, 300 years ago, right? I thought it was 500 years ago. If you go back and you look at the historical records, they'll tell you this year that last year was the hottest year on record. You heard that before?
Yeah, because they start them too late. They skip the very...
They skip over the 500 years ago when it was through the roof.
Yeah.
Okay? It was really hot 500 years ago. Okay?
Yeah.
And we didn't have cars.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do. It's a natural cycle of the Earth's environment. It's not anything that the human beings have created. It's inconsequential to what humans create. Water vapor is a greenhouse. It affects greenhouse heating. Okay, they sometimes call it a greenhouse gas, but it's really people equate greenhouse gas to CO2. It's not. It's water vapor. Okay, the more water vapor you have, the more cloud cover you have. Okay, theoretically, greenhouse gases are going to basically contribute to a cooling of the Earth, not a heating of the Earth.
Yeah, because everything's not just turned upside down. What we really should be doing.
More cloud cover means less sunlight, means less heat. Basically, you end up with a cold front, okay, a cold system. So it's cooling the Earth, not heating the Earth. So the whole thing it's a bit, one fallacy after another. Do you need to plug in your power? Or is that's my cable there?
No, your power's over there.
All right, just checking, make sure we don't run out of power while we're doing all this. Anyway, so. The whole scenario that we need to reduce our carbon footprint, we need to stop driving cars, we need to go to electric cars, all this kind of monkey, it's all bunk. Okay? We were not heating up the Earth. Okay? Believe me, the pollutants in the 40s was much higher than it is today. It was, comparatively speaking, from a pollution standpoint, soot,
Yeah, in St. Louis, we couldn't see anywhere. It was almost coal. You couldn't even see.
Well, that's not really true, but basically there was more pollutants in the air from burning coal than without scrubbing it, right? Okay. Today you can put a coal plant in, it's extremely clean.
Okay.
Okay, so and fracking, and I can tell you this right now, I've been up to the Bakken oil fields, I spent almost a month there, and I can tell you a little bit about fracking. So fracking is not creating pollution. The whole water injection and all that kind of stuff is not getting, people saying that it ruined my well, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. It can't. That water injection is down 5,000 feet. You mean to tell me it's going to get up to the water table at 100 feet?
Yeah, I don't think water goes up as often.
If you inject it 5,000 feet below the earth, it's not coming up. Okay? Now, what is a problem is the wellheads, okay? The wellheads have a pump. If you've probably seen the grasshopper thing going up and down, right? So they have those pumps up in the Bakken oil field. Now, the problem we've got is that in Texas and Oklahoma and Louisiana, where you've seen the old thing, right? So they will want to occasionally regulate the speed of the pump, either turn it off or slow it down or increase it. And so what they do is they send a guy on a truck and he has a gearbox on the pump, and so they change the gears to either higher gear or lower gear to reduce or increase the speed of the pump. Okay? Today, they said, well, let's think this through. We don't want to put anybody in a truck out there. We're going to do it remotely. So we now put internet Wi-Fi type signals between the oil head and the actual refinery / repository place wherever they collect all the oil. Okay, so now they're using variable speed drives, okay, pulse wave modulated drives, just increases and decreases the speed of the pump. Instead of a gearbox, now they have a variable speed motor drive that basically varies the speed of the pump. That corrupts the electrical grid like you can't imagine. Every home on that grid is polluted from an electrical standpoint, not from a water injection leaking into my well, blah, blah, blah. There may be one case somewhere where that's happened, but it is generally speaking, I've been up there. No wells were contaminated. When I went to almost 400 homes, no wells were contaminated.
And it's the electrical grid from the pump itself?
Yeah, they're all sick. They can't figure out why. Well, it's all the junk noise on the grid, basically is all over the place.
And it's getting the noise on the grid gets into the well?
No, it doesn't get in the well. It gets into the house.
It gets in the house, but it can cause from the well.
From the electrical system on the well, not the well itself. Okay. Pumping oil, the oil is not the problem. It's the electrical systems that drive the pump, which is the problem.
Is that because of switch more power supplies, or is that
variable speed drive?
Variable speed drive, okay.
It's a big variable speed drive. It's not a little tiny one. It's a 100 horsepower electric motor.
Yeah.
It's a big mama. It's the size of a small Volkswagen.
So when you say variable speed drive, it varies in speeds, is what it's basically saying?
You can vary the speed by changing the pulse wave of the 60 cycles to the pump.
Okay. So, and that's changed because of the actual...
in the old oil wells in Oklahoma and Texas, you've seen probably pictures of them and videos of them, the thing going up and down. Mm-hmm. That's all regulated by a gearbox. Okay. There's no electrical pollution whatsoever.
Okay. Oh.
Okay.
But the water wells is what's doing it then?
No. Nothing to do with the water.
Okay.
It's the electrical system driving the oil well pump.
Oh, the electrical system. You're talking the oil well pump. Okay, I got it now.
Not the water.
Okay.
And so I've been up there, and I've been to 400 different homes all around the Bakken oil fields, and there is no pollution of their wells.
It's just the electrical system of the pump of the well.
So the whole world is freaking out. We need to stop fracking because it's contaminating water supplies. It's not true. That's a made-up story. They're doing that to scare people. People on the street don't know this stuff. They're not aware of it. They don't get the truth. They just get told, listen, fracking is bad because it creates oil. We don't like oil because it creates CO2 as you burn in your car. So basically you're saying we need to get rid of the fracking, because that creates more oil, which makes it more available, which makes it cheaper, which we're going to make basically drive our cars for less money. They don't like that. They want you to not drive, use a bicycle like they do in China. Okay. And so you've seen pictures of all the bicycles, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We live in dense populations.
Right.
Nobody has a car. They can't afford a car.
So what about the water wells? Do water wells have a well that gives us water? Does that have a variable speed drive in it too? Or is that
no? That's typically standard.
That's a
single
standard.
speed.
Okay.
Like my home here. I have a well. I have a single speed pump drive. It turns on and off when I need water.
So how could they fix that variable speed drive on the
They could switch it to a gearbox.
a gearbox on the?
And put people
these
in-
are wells that produce oil.
Yeah.
Okay.
They could put gearboxes in, but they don't want to do that because they don't want to drive somebody. They think it's expensive to drive somebody in a truck out to an oil well head to change the gear.
Oh.
That's why they did what they did, because they thought it would be cheaper. It might be cheaper from an operational cost perspective, from an electrical and grid environment. It corrupts the entire grid.
So we have solar panels. We have variable speed drives. We have inverters from solar panels.
Inverters from solar panels are
Okay.
are disaster.
We switch more power supplies from computers, devices. We have electronic meters that are attached in people's homes. All these have higher voltage, lower voltage, AC to DC current, which is adding the
Anytime you switch from AC to DC,
conductive emissions.
creates conductive emissions, which are pollutants from an electrical system standpoint.
So the old analog meters or the mechanical,
Yeah.
didn't do that,
No, they did.
and they actually ran on 240.
Mhm.
Yeah, just like our light bulbs reach on
Yeah, I've
120.
got one. You want to look at it?
Yeah, we could. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff.
I've been doing this for years.